Hi, we're here at the 13th Annual Antigua Forum, and today we're having a conversation with Ellie Avishai, who's the co-director of the Mill Institute at University of Austin. Hi, Ellie, welcome.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, I think my background really informs the work that I do now. I grew up in a very liberal Jewish household in Boston, and it was a kind of a family where we were always making arguments. As I grew up, that the way that you can articulate a position and the way that you can understand other people's positions is kind of fundamental to your ability to kind of get things done. And I think that really played into a lot of the choices that I made through my education. So I went into teaching when I was younger, and then I pivoted and ended up getting an MBA. And that MBA also sort of was a similar experience where I was sort of face to face with all kinds of ideas that I had lots of pre-existing opinions about, and realized that I really didn't understand a lot about the way the world worked. And I got very excited about this idea of helping people get into positions where they come face to face with ideas that they didn't really consider before. And I would say that's really stretched through a lot of my professional career.
Wow. When would you say this all came together and turned into what is now the Mill Institute?
Yeah, well, I had been working for about a decade at the Rotman School of Management at the University of Toronto. And the work that I was doing there was all about supporting mostly K-12 school administrators and teachers to be doing interesting kinds of problem-solving work in their classrooms. Then after I got my doctorate in education leadership, I realized that the problem that I wanted to really focus on was this challenge of how you help classrooms be spaces not just where there's critical thinking, but where people are actually able to talk about controversial things. Because what I was seeing after my 2 decades in education was that teachers and students alike were starting to no longer speak about things. Classrooms are getting quieter. People are getting more nervous about what to talk about and what not to talk about. And that started to feel to me like a really existential crisis in education. So I was lucky enough to meet Alana Redstone, who's my co-director at the Mill Institute. And Alana got connected with the University of Austin. And the University of Austin is, as you probably know, this wonderful new university that itself has a mission of open inquiry and freedom of conscience. And we were lucky enough to be invited to become, to establish ourselves as an institute there.
I'm curious if we go back to this becoming an issue.
So why is it a problem? I mean, there are a lot of people out there who have sort of, more expertise than I in sort of all of the sort of historical and sociological causes. But I would say that if you look at it just from a teaching perspective, teachers who go through teaching programs generally are not taught how to manage controversial topics in the classroom in a way that supports critical thinking. I mean, why it matters is because that's how a democracy functions, right? I mean, the institutions of democracy function because people can look at ideas of people who disagree with them, and that vibrant debate is what furthers our knowledge. It furthers our ability to serve the people. I mean, it's just the heart of democracy. And if in our classrooms across our countries, we're not doing that, if students can go all the way through their education and never have even considered a view that's not the one they personally hold, then how can they possibly succeed in that vibrant debate?
Absolutely. How would you say the Mill Institute seeks to serve these communities of teachers and students?
We focus pretty directly on teachers themselves. We see ourselves as being a support mechanism, and we do it by offering teacher training. We develop educational resources for teachers, and we build teacher communities together so that they can support each other.
what challenge? It seems pretty clear to me. So maybe you can tell us a little bit of what challenges you started running into that made you think, maybe I should take this project to the Antigua Forum.
We work nationally, but we're a tiny organization. There's only 3 of us. And the big problem that we brought to the Antigua Forum is, if we're going to scale, how do we scale in a way that actually makes an impact? And also, therefore, how do we measure what we're doing so that we can stand by, what we're doing and know for sure, yes, we're doing what we say that we're doing.
So this idea of scaling and doing what you're saying you're doing, how did you experience the past few days here at the forum?
It was amazing. I mean, part of the experience was just kind of opening wide to the possibility that all different kinds of things could potentially be a good solution for us, but not really knowing where that would land. So we went from sort of this wide, tons of ideas, many of which I'm sure we'll go back later and try out too, into this kind of converging conversation around this one idea that was a very powerful way to take a step forward in addressing our problem. So it was very exciting.
To someone who wasn't there, tell us a little bit about the kind of people that came to your station and some of the conversation and dynamics that took place there.
What was really notable to me about the people that came to my station is just how diverse the backgrounds of people were, and therefore how many different perspectives we were able to get that not only helped me feel a little more confident that we were on the right track, but also gave me just so much food for thought about how we could be better.
What is your hope for the Mill Institute as you leave this weekend in Antigua?
I hope that we really will succeed in leading a movement of teachers across North America that are going to be the leaders that help promote this work throughout their schools. We know that we're not going to reach everybody, and we also know that the work that we do isn't for everybody, but we do believe that we can catalyze a large enough group of teachers that they, with us, can really make an influence all the way through the sector. And I think, if the students who are studying in kindergarten through grade 12, all the way through through these countries, are able to leave their education, able to have conversations about difficult things, then I think, we would have really made incredibly powerful change.
Ellie, thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Yeah, it was my pleasure.